Swadika, thank you for joining us on Newsline for Thursday, February 27th of 2014. My name is Sandra Hanut-Saha. In this morning's top stories, the government is planning to invite United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon to address anti-government protest leaders on possible solutions. And in business news, Thai shares eked out slim gains on Wednesday as investors bought banking shares in a dividend reporting session. And now on to today's headlines. 3 grenades from an M79 launcher were fired into the compounds of the Royal Thai Police Sports Club and Thai PBS television station on Wednesday evening. 2 of the grenades landed at the parking lot of the Thai PBS television compound and exploded, damaging 2 cars. Another grenade fell onto a tent used by riot policemen who were providing security for the Center for Maintaining Peace and Order, or CMPO, which was situated inside the police sports club. However, this grenade did not go off. Metropolitan Police 2 Commander Suranit Prombut said he believed the grenades were launched from high ground on the elevated tollway and from a range of about 400 meters. Investigators were going over footage from closed-circuit cameras on the tollway in the hope of identifying the perpetrators. The Center for Maintaining Peace and Order, or CMPO, is planning to invite United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon to address anti-government protest leaders on possible solutions to the political crisis. Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Surapong Tawichakchaikun, in his capacity as CMPO's advisor, said he had already spoken to Mr. Ban on the phone regarding the idea. He cited the UN's experience in dealing with local and regional conflicts as the reason behind his decision. The announcement came after the deaths of 4 children who were killed near anti-government protest sites in Bangkok and Trat province. He said the UN had stepped in to halt violence in war-torn countries such as Syria, Ukraine, Egypt, and Rwanda, but the tension had often escalated to the point where intervention is of little use. Mr. Surapong was hoping Mr. Ban could provide a viable solution before the situation can no longer be contained. According to him, the People's Democratic Reform Committee, or PDRC, does not trust any negotiators or mediators and has refused to enter talks with the government so far. He suggested that the UN Secretary General may be most suitable to take up the role. Mr. Surapong is set to formally propose the idea to the CMPO board during the next meeting. The Center for Maintaining Peace and Order, or CMPO, has invited permanent secretaries from all ministries for an urgent meeting on the deployment of more security forces into government agencies. The meeting scheduled for today at the Direct Suppression Police Headquarters will discuss efforts to reclaim more government offices. So far, 7 government buildings have been reopened on Wednesday, in addition to the 53 offices earlier reclaimed by authorities. CMPO Secretary General and Department of Special Investigation Chief Tarit Pengdit said that after the civil court handed down a ruling invalidating orders against protesters, 11 more offices have been occupied by anti-government protesters. Mr. Tarit also sent a petition to the Office of the Attorney General to press for the prosecution of former Prime Minister Apisit Wechhachiwa and his deputy Suthep Thaugsuban, who were charged in connection with murder during the military crackdown of street protests in 2010. The National Police Chief has accepted the People's Democratic Reform Committee, or PDRC's, demand for legal action against those responsible for the recent armed attacks that killed 4 children. PDRC core figures led supporters in a march to the Royal Thai Police headquarters on Rama 1 Road. The group was donning black as an act of mourning for the fallen victims of violent attacks in Khao Siming district of Trat Province and in front of Big C Department Store on Ratchaburi Road in Bangkok. 2 children died in each of the incidents. The gathering outside the police office was aimed to call on the authorities to bring the culprits to justice. PDRC Secretary General Sutep Tuksuban read out a letter which he had prepared for submission to the police, demanding that a panel of righteous and honorable officials be set up to take charge of the investigations. The police opened the front gate to allow protest leaders to come in, while National Police Chief Police General Adun Sang Singkao accepted the group's letter by himself. The atmosphere was reportedly amicable, and the PDRC supporters presented a bouquet of white flowers to the police. The police chief informed the group that his deputy, Police General Ek Ang Sananon, had been assigned to handle the cases of the PDRC. He also affirmed that the cases of the 2 deadly attacks at Khao Siming and Big C would be expedited. Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra has paid official visits to northern provinces while refusing to answer whether she would appear before the National Anti-Corruption Commission, or NACC, today to hear her charges stemming from the rice pledging scheme. Ms. Yingluck traveled through Chiang Rai and Chiang Mai provinces on an official trip. She was accompanied by several ministers, including Minister of Transport Chachat Sitipan, Minister of Interior Jarupong Rangsuwan, and Deputy Minister of Education Samsak Pongpanit. Asked whether or not she would acknowledge charges put up against her by the NACC on February 27th as scheduled, Ms. Yingluck briefly said she would need to consult her legal team first. In her capacity as chairperson of the National Rice Policy Committee, the Premier is facing the charge of dereliction of duty, which is a result of the corruption-plagued rice mortgage program. Previously, Ms. Yingluck posted a Facebook comment questioning the NACC's treatment of her case. She claimed the NACC spent only 21 days in its deliberation process before resolving the process charges against her. In response, the NACC confirmed the transparency and impartiality of its deliberation, clarifying that the case had been ongoing since December 2012. Pro-government demonstrators have surrounded the office of the National Anti-Corruption Commission, or NACC, and plan to camp out until all the commissioners resign. Supporters of the Radio Broadcasters for Democracy, a faction of the United Front for Democracy Against Dictatorship, or UDD group, staged a protest in front of the NACC head office in Nonthaburi province and locked up all entrance gates with chains. Core leader Sonrak Malaithong declared that the demonstration would be prolonged until the entire team of NACC commissioners agreed to relinquish their posts. The besiegement is aimed to oppose the NACC's consideration of many cases against the government, including the ones involving the rice pledging scheme. The commission has charged 2 former ministers for committing fraud and Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra for negligence of duty in managing the rice program. On this occasion, the core leader threatened the commissioners that they would be apprehended by the group if they were seen in public, while demanding that they carry out their duties in an unbiased manner. The protest leader also called on more UDD supporters to come out and join the movement. The Bang Na and Pin Klao temporary passport offices are accepting more passport applications to respond to people's needs. The Department of Consular Affairs and the Minister of Foreign Affairs announced that from February 25th, the Bang Na Temporary Passport Office has been able to process 2,000 applications per day, and the Pin Klao Temporary Passport Office has been able to process 1,500 per day. The first application is accepted at 8:30 a.m. and the service continues until it reaches its full capacity, which is about 7,500 applications per day. Each passport is sent out by mail only and will reach its destination within 7 working days for those who submitted an application in Bangkok and within 9 days from the submission date for those who submitted an application in the provincial offices. European envoys have expressed their hope to see peace between the Thai government and insurgents in the deep south of Thailand. The EU envoys, led by Norway ambassador to Thailand, Mrs. Katja Nordgaard, traveled to the strife-torn southern provinces of Thailand to better understand conflicts that began to flare up a decade ago. More than 5,300 have so far died from daily violence and clashes between the Thai government and separatists. On Wednesday, the envoys met with Lieutenant General Sukon Chuntragoon, the commander of Army Region 4, who is responsible for security in the area, and listened to the briefing by authorities. The Norwegian ambassador said the violence in the deep south of Thailand was caused by many factors. She expressed her hope that everyone would be able to live in peace amidst the differences between religions. She also agreed with the Thai government on the peace process to end all conflicts and killings. And that's the end of our first segment. We now take a short break, but up next, this year's rate of household debts has a tendency to decline despite the rising number of debtors missing their payments. Don't go away, we have the details.
Open the world of information. Embrace public participation. Present Thainess to the world. New dimension of the government's public relations. The 80th anniversary of the Public Relations Department. Creative media for the society. Mobilizing Thailand towards the ASEAN community.
Moving forward to the establishment of ASEAN community in 2015. The Public Relations Department has launched a 24-hour English language satellite TV channel, NBT World. Broadcast in C-band format, viewers can stay up to date on what's going on in Thailand and countries in the ASEAN region. NBT World can be watched by GMMZ set-top box on channel 194 and PSI set-top box on channel 198. NBT World, Voice of ASEAN Community.
Welcome back. You're watching Newsline, and it's time for our business stories. CIMB Thai Public Company Limited, or CIMB Bank, has pointed out that political instability has encouraged its medium and top-tier customers to move savings into long-term fixed deposit accounts. Mr. Adisansom Chayawong, Vice President of the CIMB Bank, revealed that the trend started to develop among the bank's customers with assets of 1 million baht up to more than 10 million baht as the level of confidence in the local economy declined. Another factor was the prospect of lowered interest rates. He was referring to suggestions that the Monetary Policy Office, or MPO, would lower the interest rate by 0.25% to stand at 2% at its next meeting on March 12th. Mr. Adison claimed that the speculation encouraged customers either to deposit their money in fixed deposit accounts or invest in long-term funds, revealing that so far the net savings had reached about 6 billion baht, an increase of 2 to 3%. He said the bulk of that figure, some 3 to 4 billion baht, is the savings of legal entities, while the rest is from personal savings. Mr. Adison said that normally 60 to 70% of people preferred 3 to 5 month fixed-term deposits. However, since the eruption of political unrest, customers favored longer period deposits. He pointed to the CIMB Bank's successful 8-month fixed-term deposit, with an instant 2.88% interest rate. The offer attracted 2 billion baht in savings during the campaign's first 2 weeks and 4 billion baht after only 45 days. This year's rate of household debts has a tendency to decline despite the rising number of debtors missing payments and overdue payment in 2013, reported by the Office of the National Economic and Social Development Board, or NESDB. Deputy Director General of the Fiscal Policy Officer, FPO, Niti Thanpraphat, said at the moment financial institutions give out fewer loans as the economic expansion rate is slowing down, resulting in a lower number of household debts. He attributed last year's rise in household debts and missing payments to the government's first car policy and the growing public spending. Mr. Ekniti, however, believes the government-affiliated banks and commercial banks would be more careful in granting loans and preventing expansion of non-performing loans, or NPLs. The FPO Deputy Director General is confident that the nation's financial institutions are strong enough to handle various public monetary hiccups, adding that the FPO expects 2014's NPLs would not exceed 10% given the aforementioned circumstances. And Thai shares eked out slim gains on Wednesday as investors bought banking shares in a dividend reporting season, while stocks in Indonesia and most regional bourses slid as concerns over opaque policy moves in China kept investors on edge. After a range-bound session, Bangkok's set index ended up 0.06% at 1,304.62. Gainers included Siam Commercial Bank, which announced an attractive dividend early in the week. Shares of Advanced Info Service and Shin Corporation erased earlier gains amid a call by anti-government protesters to boycott businesses linked to Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra. Trading volume at the Thai bourse was relatively weak after political violence in downtown Bangkok almost every night this week. Singapore's Straits Times Index fell for a second session, ending down 0.5% at its lowest close in almost 1 week, while Jakarta's Composite Index shed 1%, a third session of fall, to a near 2-week low. Malaysia retreated 0.6%, led by an 8.5% drop in shares of budget carrier AirAsia X after announcing a net loss in its fourth quarter. Fund flows in the region were mixed, with Malaysia recording net foreign sales of $15.24 million and the Philippines reporting a net foreign buying of $4.77 million. And before our next break, let's have a quick look at the exchange rates and commodity prices.
Open the world of information. Embrace public participation. Present Thainess to the world. New dimension of the government's public relations. The 80th anniversary of the Public Relations Department. Creative media for the society. Mobilizing Thailand towards the ASEAN community.
เมื่อมนุษย์ทำลายสมดุลทางธรรมชาติแล้วมนุษย์ก็เป็นผู้ประสบภัยพิบัติจากธรรมชาติร่วมสร้างอนาคตลดภัยพิบัติระดมพลังพลิกฟื้นคืนผืนป่าในทุกชุมชนทั่วประเทศ
For those who have Android smartphones, you can download a PRD News application by searching for PRD News English in Play Store. That way, you can stay up to date with the latest happenings in Thailand.
Welcome back. You're watching Newsline, and we wrap up the show with Chonburi Province is hosting the Eastern Flower Festival to showcase the province's beautiful flowers and promote the Thai flower industry. Chonburi Governor Khomsan Ekachai presided over the opening ceremony of the Eastern Flower Festival, an event aimed at showcasing and promoting the province's flowers. Chonburi is considered an important flower-growing province in Thailand, with the capability of expanding even further in its local markets and other provinces. The government has lent its support to Chonburi and other eastern provinces for the development of the flower and tourism industries. Therefore, demand for flowers to decorate hotels and lodges have significantly increased as a result. Chonburi Province has responded to the flower demand increase by establishing the Flower Growers Association in an attempt to better develop and improve on the flower growing industry. The Eastern Flower Festival is being held in front of Chonburi City Hall until March 1st of this year. And that's it for today's edition of Newsline. For any comments or suggestions, please feel free to email them to us at newsline.nbt@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Facebook. Simply type in NNT or check out our website at thainews.prd.go.th/newsing. And we're going to say goodbye with footage of local people in Bumgan Province taking advantage of the dry weather by catching large fish as the water dries up in the river. Have a wonderful day. I'm Sandra Hanud Saha. สวัสดีค่ะ